Hey, Paul.
Yeah, you know.
He is a snazzily dressed man.
Look at him.
He really is.
Look, well, now he's got reason to be. Now you kind of have to be, right?
Yes, I gotta represent.
Right. Is that one of Paul Feig?
Hey,
he's got.
Hey.
Doug.
We all know Paul Feig from as a filmmaker and everything, but you've got a line of suits
Yes, I do.
at J. Crew. Is that one of the suits?
This is one of the suits.
Look at
That's
that.
amazing.
Thank you so much.
Does it come with the
there we go.
flower and
Yeah.
the handkerchief?
You can buy those separately.
Those
yes.
both complement each other. It's so amazing how good
Thank
they look
you.
together.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
He's trying to connect with you on a fashion line.
No,
Yeah.
I,
Connected.
hey, listen, I know
Since
a lot
show
about
business
fashion.
doesn't connect you.
No, I appreciate it. It's fun for me. I wear them all the time and thought, why not make them in the style that I like.
Yeah, you are a very snazzily dressed guy. I'll say that.
Thank you, Jim.
You were last time you came in, though.
Yeah.
When did you start deciding like I'm gonna be that guy who wears suits all the time and like?
You know what? As a kid, I did it because Groucho Marx was my hero.
Yeah.
And I read a biography about him when I was a kid.
You
And
must have been super popular, like going to school in suits. And stuff
oh
as a
yeah,
kid,
oh yeah.
right?
It's, you know.
They must
Yeah.
have thought you were the man.
Oh yeah, the ladies.
You had to
just,
say,
you know.
no, it's for Groucho as the fist was coming at your face.
Yeah, that's right. And that would have made it coming even harder. But he said that he never trusted a man who didn't dress up. So I thought, well, I have to dress up now. And it just kind of caught on. And when I was in my 20s, I was a stand-up when Doug and I used to work together at the Variety Arts Club. I was in my vintage bowling shirt phase.
Do you know
You
his
are.
clothing line made out of hemp that he has? It's unbelievable.
It's recyclable,
Yeah,
which is great.
It's great. It's great. You can eat it too.
I look forward to that.
So you were a Groucho fan.
Yeah, huge.
It's,
Yeah.
You're a little young to have been like a big Groucho. Not that you understand, like that's timeless, but usually guys in our age group are kind of like whether it's Richard Pryor or Carlin.
Yeah. I mean, I loved all them as stand-ups. What happened was when I was about 8 or 9, they reissued Animal Crackers in theaters, and so my mom took me in like during the afternoon, and we went, and it was packed with college kids, and the place went crazy. I mean, they just went nuts, and so that was just kind of a magical moment where you're like, oh my God, look at this thing. And it was cool that it was somebody that, you know, as a young person, you could discover somebody that your peers didn't know. So that was really
Oh, is that what it was too? None of them knew, kind of. None of them paid attention.
Yeah, exactly. They thought it was some old black and white thing. So, you know, but I always try to stay. It's funny. I discovered Steve Martin before anybody knew who he was, and I memorized his first album and would go to school and recite it, but I'd recite it as if I had written it.
Sure.
Yeah. And so
you're-
then one day somebody found out.
So you were the first person to discover Steve Martin. Like nobody knew you were.
In Michigan, yeah, he
Yeah.
was not. He had not caught on. He had just been doing Saturday Night Live a little bit, and the first album had just come out. And so,
What was the first album called?
Let's Get Small, I believe. That was the first.
So
one.
when the kids find out that like you're just reciting an album,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like you must have had an unpleasant
Yeah. In a
time
three-
as a kid.
Of course I did. Everything in my
Hey,
childhood was terrible.
Hey, the kid in the tuxedo stole a
yes,
comedy
yes.
album and he's pretending it's him.
Oh, for a second they were like, the weird kid is actually funny.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
no, he's not. He just stole all his jokes.
And that's what it was. What a few months I had of living off of Steve.
One of the genius things Steve Martin did was wear the white suit because they said it was like where he used to dress crazy or and they said it fit. It was like too on the nose, and then wearing a white suit was such a different thing than the way he was acting. That was what kind of put it together.
Yeah, and that sort of came full circle for me with the suits and everything, to the point where I was such a nerd. When I was so in love with that album, I went to Radio Shack and I bought a microphone and a mic stand, and I bought a 3-piece white suit at the disco store and would put it on every night, close my door, and recite the album into the microphone every night for months. That's how I knew it so well.
What was your
Because you
favorite? What was your favorite joke?
Oh gosh, I like the whole thing about I'm so mad at about taking the barbells. I make my grandmother take
Hilarious.
the barbells up to the attic. Yeah,
Was that where he goes? She wanted to borrow $10 for some food.
I said, hey, I work for a living.
So you put a white suit on in your room.
Yes.
And do Steve Martin.
By myself. Yes. Where
Did
other
you dye your hair
kids were
white?
masturbating, I was just doing that.
I don't know why you couldn't do both.
Yeah, white suit.
In a way, I was really.
Yeah, just pretend Steve Martin's giving you a hand job. That'd be great.
Did you ever tell him that story?
I finally got to meet with him. I had a meeting with him at his house about a project, and was so nervous. I wanted to tell him, and the minute I started to try to say something about it, he was like, "Oh," he cut it off immediately. Like he seems like he just doesn't want to hear anybody fanning over him. Which
Really?
I understand.
What
yeah.
did he say? Like, oh no, that's all right.
He was like, "Oh yeah." So anyway, it's like, "Oh okay." So, but
Is that kind of a bummer though for you? You're like, I've kind of spent all this time building to this, and like it means so much to me, but you're totally over it.
No, I kind of get it because because he's such a superstar at this point. I had a really bad experience with Steve Martin a few years before that. I was doing a TV show, and one of the other actors on it was Tom Arnold's show, and Michael Boatman, this great actor Michael Boatman, was on there too, and we got asked to do a reading of My Fellow Americans that they were trying to cast, and they were trying to get Steve Martin to do it. So the producer put together this giant reading at his house, all these really famous actors there, and Steve basically kind of to hopefully romance him into doing it. So he shows up. He's reading the thing, and he's hilarious. I mean, we're just cracking up. But he, I think, felt like he was being conned a little bit, so he would look around at us sort of with this look of like, that wasn't as funny as you guys are acting. So we're in the middle of the reading, and he's in the middle of this long speech. Michael Boatman's sitting next to me. We're sitting across from Steve, and all of a sudden, for some reason, Michael Boatman, in the middle of his speech, goes and just does this like I'm falling asleep thing. Steve Martin looks up from his script and looks directly at me with a look like he wants to kill me. And I'm frozen. And then he goes back to reading. I just look over at Michael like, what the fuck did you just do? He's like, I don't know. I thought it'd be funny. And then after
Did it get a laugh?
No, we got no laugh. Especially not from Steve.
And he thought it was you?
Yeah, he thought it was me. And then it
awesome.
ended and he left. And so for years I was walking around like, oh my God, Steve Martin hates me.
Did you ever tell him I didn't snore during your speech?
I think I actually, at that meeting, I did tell him the story.
And all I did was remind him of the time that somebody snorted his speech. He's just in a bad mood anyway.
He's like, that was you.
Yeah.
He has to look at you as an equal. Like if you're at his house, he has to go, this guy's an equal and I'm going to do a project. So if you're fanboying out, then all of a sudden he's like, oh, I can't. It's hard for him to look at you as an equal.
Yeah, I totally get that. That's why I was kind of like, oh, cool. I almost felt weird that I tried to bring it up.
No, it's fair.
Have you been to Steve Martin's house?
I have not, no, but I've talked to people who were way above me in show business, which is a lot of
That's
them.
everybody in the room.
That's why I said that.
Certainly
But
not.
you wind up realizing that they don't want you to fanboy out.
Yeah, you probably like that with De Niro.
Yeah, I didn't fanboy out. I mean, I wanted to inside, but I was actually comfortable, oddly comfortable. So
Yeah, you don't want to fanboy out in front of De Niro. You might wake him.
hey, don't talk about Bob that way.
Doug said that.
I did that with
Fly died on his face.
It is probably. I mean,
One of Rickles' funniest lines. I spent the night with him. I watched a fly crawl up a drape. What a fucking bad night that is.
It's hard to kind of act normal around people you admire. Famous. I have a horrible time.
Sometimes you're so nervous. Like the thing I did with him, where I was talking about stand up, so it was easier. But it's so over the top nervous that you come full circle into I'm so petrified I'm calm.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
it's like if I dialed it back 1 inch, I would have been a blathering fucking moron.
Right.
But it was so overwhelming and surreal that you just feel like this is not even happening.
Yeah.
And you're comfortable.
yeah, because you really can't. Because I don't know if you saw the opening of Jim's special, but De Niro spanked his bare ass.
Hilarious.
And I would imagine it would be very difficult to like fanboy out over somebody and then be like, hey, also I was thinking, would you want to spank me on my special?
But you're doing something, and he's like, "Well, you want me to do this?" And you're like, "Yeah, let's just do that." It's like
Right.
it's so overwhelming. Who
Yeah.
have you fanboyed? I'm sure because you've worked with a lot of big famous people.
Well, the problem
Big
is
famous people. Well said, Jim.
Well done, Jim. They are big famous. No, I tend to go the opposite way and try to act too cool, or I go nuts. And so I've had so many bad encounters. For some reason, I really admire Tom Ford. I think he's like the greatest, and I've been at a number of events where he's at.
Good cologne.
Yeah, good cologne, exactly. Nice sunglasses. And I always go, I've done this like 3 times with him. I walk him and go, Mr. Ford, I just want to say I'm a big fan, and I don't want to get in your way, and I just want to say hi, and I walk away like a crazy person. And every time he sees me coming now, it's just like, oh God, here comes that weirdo. But I had the dumbest thing that ever happened to me was I was at a party years ago. I was a regular on the It's Gary Shandling show, and they did this big final party, and George Wendt was married to one of the actresses on the show. So huge George Wendt fan. He comes up to me, and I try to act so cool because I'm so nervous. He was like, oh, you're great on the show. I'm a really big fan. And I'm just like, oh, my God, it's George Wendt. I make the decision to hold my hand out and do this look like, and you are? And he's just like, George Wendt. And he shook my hand. And he walked away like this, looked like an idiot. And I was just like, fuck.
Why did I do that?
Why did I do that? And so like 2 hours later, before I left, I run over to him on the dance floor. I'm like, oh, George, I just want to say I'm a big fan. He's like, yeah.
This might be is he the guy that did the Fritos commercials?
Did he?
Yeah.
I think so.
Look at his picture up. Look it up.
Well, he, from Cheers, did he do Fritos also?
Oh, no. Wrong person. Sorry. So I made a
wish he
mistake.
had.
I made a mistake.
No,
Did he
good.
do the
That's
Now I want to
Fritos?
know who this Fritos guy is.
Exactly.
It was an old comic from years ago.
Oh,
Rich
His
Voss.
listen,
And he did Fritos commercials?
You thought
Yes.
he was talking about how a big fan he was of an old comic that did
Why?
Fritos
He's
commercials?
he's a big fan of Groucho,
Yeah.
so why wouldn't he be a big
Stop
fan
gesturing
of
with
this
your
comic?
glasses.
It makes me look
it's very
smarter.
intellectual. I like
It makes me look
it. It reminds me
smarter.
of the Sunshine Boys. You remember that
Yeah.
movie with Walter Matthau
Jack Lemmon?
auditioning?
Is Jack Lemmon in that?
Frenchies, yeah. No,
No.
it's George
George
Burns.
Burns.
Funny movie,
Did
but
you see-
he's auditioning.
Did
for
you
it.
see Glass Castle?
No, I did not.
We were discussing how great it is.
No,
Is it
already.
great?
Oh, you'll love it.
Oh,
Rich
excellent.
liked it, and nobody else did.
There's at
But-
least a 50% chance you'll like it.
My
What's your
producer for my newest movie produced that, so
Did he?
I'll tell him that you, that you
Loved it.
liked it.
What's the
Excellent.
newest movie?
It's coming out next year. It's called A Simple Favor with Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively. It's a thriller, a fun thriller, and it's very fun.
What do you think? I mean, obviously it's disheartening, but like, you know, has your work been affected at all by what's been going on? Like certain people you can't work with now, or actors or actresses, or now every time you cast somebody you have to panic. Like Ridley Scott just kind of took Kevin Spacey out of a movie. It's
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky because I work with so many women. So there's not, so far they've been clean. But I don't know. You don't really. I don't. You can't really factor that in. Look, whenever I work with anybody, I always do kind of a check around the town to find out if they're an asshole or
Sure.
not. And so generally that'll fall into the same category. So I've been really lucky that we work
So,
with
you do
people.
check around though. You'll say to someone
yeah.
who else has worked with this person. Hey,
Oh,
is there?
yeah.
had
Life's too short to be stuck for months. With
What
an
do you do if
asshole.
you're stuck with somebody on the set who you don't like? It's usually the directors. Like you'll ask the actors, "What do you do if there's a director who's a screamer? What do you do if there's an? Have you? I'm sure you've dealt with actors who just don't want to take direction.
Yeah, I've had a couple. It's been worse. It was worse in television because you're sort of a hired hand who comes in, and there's the cast who've been there, and a lot of them sometimes just have this thing of like, all right, fuck you, you're this guy, this is our job every day, and you're coming in as a guest. But I've been pretty lucky. I only had a couple of bad experiences.
How do you handle it?
You just kind of put your head down and get through it, because what it is a lot of times you're trying to get them to do something they don't want to do that the producers want you to get them to do, and so it's your job to make it happen no matter what. And every once in a while I just go like, look, they want you to do this. I don't know what to tell you. And something, they'll usually come around. I mean, what happens once the camera rolls, people usually pull it together because nobody wants a bad performance.
So you'll tell them like after a while, like, look, this is not me. They asked me to tell you to do this, and it's up to you if you don't do it.
That's my last resort. If I'm trying to get them to do something that I don't believe in, because that's a lot of times like the producer's like, you got to get them to say this. I'm thinking like, that's a really dumb joke, or that's not right, or that's not their voice, and that's when I'll just resort to, look, it's not me.
Yeah, but
it's
if
them.
you're doing like 3 or 4 takes, can't you say, hey, just try it this way? We're not going to go
It's
with
called do it for
I
safety.
try all that, yeah, but they get pretty smart about that. They're
Yeah,
like, oh,
okay.
sure, okay, I give you the one take, and then that's the one you
You just do
use.
this one for safety, and that's the one you're going to
Oh, yeah,
use.
of
No,
course.
I'm not doing that.
Oh yeah, I did a movie where one of the actors who was a little over the top. I always go, let's just do a small one for safety, and then they saw the movie. That was the entire movie. Was
the small ones?
Their safety takes. Not happy about that.
They weren't happy?
No, not at all.
Did they let you know?
I believe they left the premiere.
Oh.
Yeah, so there you go.
Well, the small it takes worked for the film, right?
Oh, totally.
Was it a comedy or a drama?
It was a comedy.
Okay.
It's just different.
Male or female?
I'm not going to say any more than I've said.
How many Paul Feig comedies are those?
That's right.
I'll tell you, if he says male, it's pretty easy to narrow down. If it's female, it could be any number
It's
of
a
people.
wide field.
You've worked with so many women, though. Had you heard, like, at least rumblings or these stories that, like, I think a lot of people are kind of shocked when the Weinstein thing starts, and then it snowballs into no, it's happening across.
No, I mean there's definitely kind of a group of names you would hear over and over again who had bad reputations. The weird thing about Harvey was, because I almost worked with him, I had a project with him that I ended up not doing. Because I just felt like life was too short. I had enough people tell me it was more like Marlon Wayans was like, "Don't do it; it's not worth it."
Oh, we're dealing with him?
Yeah, to do a movie with him. He'd had bad experiences with him, but I'd only heard what a jerk he was and how hard he was to work with. I had somehow not heard the sexual story.
Thank God they
wow.
weren't.
Yeah.
Thank God they weren't wearing one of your suits when that happened.
Oh boy,
Can you imagine that?
That's the biggest scary thing now with a suit. They can be clad. The perpetrator can be clad.
Did you ever wear, as a kid, suits with shorts?
No, I never did that. But that's the Angus Young look.
That's
which-
also-
What's the
certainly
next
is,
question?
yes.
Do you like gladiator movies?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a whole nother level of suits.
What's
That
big,
is.
that's
Angus
big,
Young.
You
I
got to
mean,
be a secure person to pull that off and have great legs.
big in Bermuda. Bermuda shorts.
They
that's
certainly
very good.
are.
Yeah.
Yes, the Bermuda. Oh, look,
And I
there's a
think in-
picture just came up.
In Australia, a lot of people wear suits like that.
That is the Angus Young, yeah.
Yeah.
or a Tom Brown.
Did you,
designer
when-
Tom Brown.
That guy's at 12.
All right. When you
Check the website. Everybody.
when Tom Ford reaches this other level of popularity because of the Jay-Z song, like, and he doesn't become just a guy that people know in fashion, but like a pop culture name that people know. Are you the type of guy that goes like, no, you guys aren't the real Tom Ford fans? I've known him forever, or do you not care?
No, I want everybody to succeed who I think is great.
Yeah.
So, but I'm currently trying to get a rap artist to mention my
You
suit
are.
line. Yes, and their products.
The J. Crew suit line.
Yes, exactly. I think they could rap a good Paul Feig for J. Crew.
What is it? What is
that
it? What does
rhymes.
it suit? What does a J. Crew suit roughly cost? Like, what's the range that they start at?
The range is like the jacket is right around the 400 range,
All
and the
right.
pants like 200. So you can get a full suit for like $800, which is pretty pretty good.
You should have up. This is what you get a celebrity to wear the suit, and then you charge like $7,000 for it.
Yes.
And that's how you sell suits.
I know.
That's-
Damn it! Oh, now you tell me.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'll wear him on stage if you want.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to
if you wanna-
advertise to
you got
15,
it.
20 people at a pop.
Well, lucky for you, Rich, you can go to
Would you
J.
know-
Crew and buy a suit. So-
Yeah, do you make them in dwarf?
You would look wonderfully handsome in those.
How?
Thank you.
How are you anal retentive about the suits? Like, are you like very detail oriented?
Yeah, I'm what they call, well, even with my own suits, I'm what they call a wrinkle chaser, which doesn't mean I go after old ladies, but no, I'll go to like the tailor like 4 or 5 times just because, this thing's wrong or this is wrong.
Oh, you go back.
Yo, I go back.
I just throw it out. I go one time. I had my fucking dwarfy little arms, short sleeves taken up, and if it doesn't fit, it goes right in the bin. I'm finished.
No. Jim, come on, you gotta get in there, and that's their job. They have to do it.
I know.
It's
I
got to look perfect, man.
Yeah.
Cut nice. I'm telling you, I had,
scrubbing dicks.
I had tank tops tailored.
Paul, what do you wear on Casual Friday?
I'm wearing it right now.
That's as casual as you get.
Yeah, I'm
Although-
very anti-casual Friday.
If you want to see Paul Feig not wearing a suit, I've been obsessed with the movie Heavyweights probably since it came out, and I watch it like multiple times a year, every year.
Nice.
But you can see Paul in a pair of like short shorts and a half tee.
Yeah, exactly. Which have
it's-
popped up on the internet recently. Is
that right?
Quite a look. Yeah, exactly.
I think so.
I think it's going to pop up again right now, man.
Doesn't it suck though when like a suit is
Oh my God! Look at wait, hold on. They just found these really mean,
I'm a Paul
mean
Feig guy.
Ghostbusters T-shirts about me. That's hilarious.
Troy Googled Paul Feig T-shirt, and the T-shirt that came up is "Who you gonna call?
Not Paul.
Don't call
That's
Paul.
not that cool.
Oh, I got to get some of those. That's
Not that cool.
fantastic.
Were you
Call Saul.
Are
Does
you-
that upset you at all?
in hindsight?
You know what? It doesn't anymore. During what was happening, it was kind of a bummer, just
It
because
was.
we didn't make it to try to piss people off. We made it to kind of make people laugh and all that, and then it turned into such a thing. But
Yeah, it
now,
turned
now it
into
just
a-
amuses me. Like if you're still mad about it a year and a half out, then you got bigger problems.
Did you want it to be a political thing? Like, is that because maybe when you just wanted to make a comedy, but casting all women, obviously that's going to be a thing that people take note of. Was that a
I never thought it'd be a thing, just because all I do is work with funny ladies, and
Right.
so when they wanted me to do one, I was like, oh, perfect! I can use all these funny women that I know, and that's literally the extent of what I thought. And it's the internet still like thinks that I was on some big political mission and all.
Do you
that.
think it affected the movie or the box office or that, or do you think
I just
that-
think there was just a lot of bad, there was a lot of bad press about the bad reaction that these guys had to us,
Yes.
and all their downvoting of the trailer and stuff. So yeah, I mean it didn't help, but look, the movie is what it is, and so many women and girls especially like really love it, and it's inspired a lot of women to go into science and all that. So I stand by it. I love it personally.
Well,
You know what
Leslie-
sucks is when
Leslie is
people,
so funny.
if people
Oh,
don't
yeah.
like something, that's one
Funniest.
thing. But it's when they think they know what your motives are. Like if people go, "Hey, I didn't like that movie; it sucked." Okay, you didn't like it, or I don't like that joke. But when they think they know why you did it and they're
Yeah.
wrong, that's the frustrating part.
Oh, totally. You guys deal with it all the time. Like you have a joke that offends somebody. It's like, I know why you said that. No, it's but look, I mean, that's the power and the fun and the terribleness of the internet, which is everybody has a strong opinion that they can put out there. But it's great. I'd rather have that than not have it. But it just sometimes a little disheartening.
Sure.
How did the actresses take it? Like, because I mean, I think that the argument that you put Kate McKinnon in a comedy because you wanted to make a great comedy is a pretty solid argument.
Yeah.
Because she's one of the funniest people on television and stuff. But how did they take it when now they get lumped into this thing that now
They're in the middle of a political
supporting.
argument.
Yeah, I mean, they were pretty cool about it. I mean, you know, especially like Kate and Kristen just completely avoid the internet. They don't have any social media or anything.
Really?
So, yeah, I don't think they're aware of it. You know, and Melissa's just a rock star, so she doesn't care. And Leslie is, you know, a fucking warrior. So, she, you know, she would say to me, I'd sometimes apologize, like, I'm sorry this is going on. She's like, you think I fucking care? You know, so she's just, you know, she is the coolest. Yeah, they all weathered it fine.
Not being aware of the internet would kind of be. I envy people who literally don't care about being online.
Yeah.
Like I get addicted to it. It's stupid. Just click, click, click.
Oh,
For
God.
what?
I know. How many times that you just every day is like, put the fucking phone down. Like it becomes this weird addiction sort of pattern of like, okay, I'll check over here. Wait, no, I got to check Twitter. No, I got to check CNN. No,
But it's hard not to check though. When like all of a sudden when you're growing up, I literally remember party lines. We would have a party line, and I remember the idea we would fantasize about someday being able to talk and see the person on the phone you were talking to. We would talk about that, like, yeah, someday you'll have a monitor in your kitchen, and now you could just FaceTime. It's overwhelming. I can't handle it.
Oh no, it's crazy. Although when I was a kid, I used to have angst about because they would always like the Jetsons or something have the phone where you could see somebody. I'd go like, oh God, I don't want that because the phone time is the only time you can kind of talk and kind of look around or make a face like, oh yeah, whatever idiot. And so now you have to perform while you're on. I don't know. I can't FaceTime. It's too much pressure.
Yeah, I find Skype and FaceTime are hard because you have to focus on the person.
Yeah.
And it's like being in real. It's like I would rather just fucking do 20 different things and text you. It's much easier.
Right, and you can't talk on the toilet. Which,
Sure you can.
Yeah.
I only do. It's a fetish site. Yeah, comic shitting. Boo.
You have to put like a backdrop of like an office behind you so you can be on the toilet and nobody knows.
So when you start working on this new project, is it like, does the studio get apprehensive about like, okay, but we know what the Paul Feig thing is now. It became a thing last time, so now it's like, oh, he's doing another one of these lady movies.
Right.
Like, what's?
No, I mean they're fine with that. I mean, I'm lucky that I'm one of the few people that actually can just get any movie made if it's a good script with a female cast.
Yeah.
No, I mean. It was kind of what it was. And,
How is this movie going to ruin men's childhood?
Oh, so in so many ways.
In what way are you going to destroy
your
their
central
lives?
goal.
That is my goal. Exactly.
Well, that's what we learned. Paul Feig was picked on in school, so now he wants to make sure that all you that had good childhoods, he's going to squash it all.
Exactly. But I mean, on the studio thing, my movie, not to brag, but my movies have made over $1 billion worldwide. So thank you so much. I only say that because they star women, and the excuse that has floated around for years is that movies with women don't make that much money, and look at what just happened with Wonder Woman. So
that's right.
We're trying to take back the night.
Were you bullied?
Chris
Were you bullied
Pine
as a
is
kid?
great in
Me?
it.
No, I was super cool, and
Pine is great.
everything went great. Yeah, I was horribly bullied.
You were, because I know
Oh,
you're donating a piece of the proceeds for the handkerchiefs are going to stomp out bullying.
Yeah.
So were you bullied physically, or was it just like the things they would say?
Both, really. I had a couple of bullies in particular who were half my size, and the locker room was their particular fun place to really give me a hard time.
And they would what, attack you?
When your name is Feig, you can only imagine it's a short journey to another disparaging name.
Not a big leap.
Yeah, exactly. Not that tough.
Yeah.
We're, the Oscar Wildes of my school.
Yeah, my friend Bill Knocksucker got the same type of So okay, yeah. So of
Here
course
comes
the name.
Paul Frog.
Yeah. That's Joel Madison's old joke about Fuddruckers. He's opening a restaurant called Sockcuckers.
Oh yeah. So yeah, they would bully you, and I guess that kind of did you ever see those people later in life where they're like, "Hey, I'm a big fan," and you're like, "No, you're not. I remember you."
No, fortunately, I haven't run into those bullies just because I've separated myself from my home state of Michigan. But I know that one day they will show up. And
would you still hate them, or did you ever kind of come together with them before that? Like, did you speak to them growing up at all, or no?
No, it was always bad. And I don't know. It'd be if they came up and like apologized, I would forgive them in a heartbeat. But I always think they're probably just going to come up and just call me the same name and punch me or something.
I talked to somebody I know.
I'm scarred. Exactly.
Yeah, no, I know somebody who was sexually abused like years ago, like probably 40, 50 years ago when he was a kid. And we talked about it, and he goes, "Yeah, I saw the guy. He came up to me. The guy was a fan at that point."
Oh, God.
And he goes, I said, "What did you say to him?" He goes, "I was scared of him."
Yeah.
Like as a 50 or 60-year-old man,
Yeah.
he was scared of this other man because of those memories when he was a kid.
And
Yeah,
now,
I'm sure.
as a radio host, has he come to grips with it?
He's sending it back your way. Jim.
I know, but I'm trying to think of how to. Do I address that, or do I just allow that one to lay there?
Let that one fly. Let that one fly.
I was looking at Voss's hands. He was clenching his hands.
Were you surprised? I was kind of surprised over the summer when Dan Aykroyd started taking kind of shots out of nowhere. I was like, because it kind of felt like I get why Dan Aykroyd would be a loyalist, kind of, to Ghostbusters, but I just didn't understand. He was saying things that weren't even true about the numbers of the box office. And
dude, it was a bummer just because I'm such a huge Dan fan, and I will continue to be. I love Dan, and we had such a nice time on the movie. I get it. That's a huge brand for them, and it didn't do what it was supposed to. And I think it might have, it's made it harder to get another one going. So I completely get why he'd be upset. But Dan, if you're out there, I love you, and
you should
have no problem with this whatsoever.
And Dan, if you're out there and you're like that upset that the Ghostbusters isn't continuing on, you could move beyond Ghostbusters.
Sure, or Dan, wait till you hear about the all-female Dr. Detroit that he's working on.
We weren't supposed to announce that yet, Jim.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, boy.
So he just got mad that he thought it hurt the franchise and for his own thing. Yeah.
Yeah, he was just trying. I mean, he was on a radio show and just kind of felt that.
He goes like,
he was mad.
I mean, he's drinking his own vodka. He's a little vodka line he
which
has.
is quite good. It comes in the skull.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it is nice.
He said that the movie wasn't profitable, which wasn't true if you look at just box office mojo. And he said that the retakes on the movie cost like $40 million.
Yeah.
It was because Paul wasn't listening, and then they were like, "No, that's also not."
Is that true?
It was $2 to $3 million was our reshoot. Not even a reshoot. We just had to shoot some extra stuff for it to add a couple of scenes.
That's close.
What did he say?
He said that's close. $2 million and $40 million.
30,
That's about
40,
right. Yeah.
3, 4. But it's so funny that a year and a half ago the movie came out and it still has a life on the internet.
It really is. You would want to believe that at some point, that would all just go away and people would just be able to figure out whether or not they like the movie.
I know, exactly.
But it just won't leave.
I keep waiting for somebody to do the all-chimp version of The Godfather that will get me out of trouble. Not yet.
So you haven't done
too cute.
It does, right?
Yeah.
I would be first in line to see
into
that.
Yeah. You see Jack Walsh just bouncing the horse head, having fun with it. So but that's the last thing you did. Now you're doing a thriller. It's like, you haven't done a movie since Ghostbusters, right?
No. I just finished shooting this new one.
He's doing this new one,
Exactly.
yes.
Yeah.
But do you feel like after that, do you normally wait that long in between films? Is it usually a 2-year thing?
Yeah, my movies tend to come out every 2 years, just
Okay.
because it was only Spy and Ghostbusters were a year apart, just because when I was just finished Spy, this came up, and so we slammed right into it. But usually it's 2 years.
So now you're doing a thriller. How much different is that? Obviously, it's than a comedy. It's everything different.
It's super fun. I mean, I like everything to have a funny element to it. And what I loved, this script got sent to me. I have a deal at Fox, and they wanted us to produce it, my company. And when I read it, I loved it so much because it's kind of Hitchcockian, but it's also a really funny main character of this really nerdy mom who has like a mommy vlog that she does, and then she gets caught in this really odd situation. And to me, I thought I love anything about like sort of nerds or people kind of out of place who then get thrust into a new situation. And so it just seemed like the kind of an easy transition. It was just nice to not do a movie that is just hard like jokes every minute, because we were really able to concentrate on the characters and the story. But that said, it's really fun, and Anna Kendrick is unbelievable. She's such an amazing comedic talent, but such a great actress too. And then Blake Lively plays the villain, and she embraces it with quite a gusto. I think people are going to be surprised.
Were you a horror movie geek at all
No,
growing up? Or
I was
your
too chicken.
geekdom didn't go that way.
I was too chicken.
Yeah.
It's funny. I would love to make a horror movie because it's really fun to be in control of it. But to watch something that I don't know what's going to happen next, I get really tense. Although I do love thrillers, but also I'm too squeamish. Like anything with a knife going through
You don't like
flesh. Oh, I can't. Can't take it.
But that's one of the things that's so cool about Spy is that even though it's Melissa McCarthy comedy, when it's violent, it's very violent.
Yeah.
Like, and a thing that I think's missing from, I don't know why James Bond movies are still so genteel. Like your movie's so much more fun than the most recent James Bond movies.
Oh, thanks, Doc. No, you know what it is because we just go R. And they have to keep those PG-13 just because they think it's going to hurt. But I look at Deadpool, how well that did.
Yeah.
I think you can go that way. I love R-rated comedy, not because my movies, they don't really have any nudity or sex scenes in them to speak of, but I just like people being able to be honest with their language and to be able to swear, and then on top of it, when you have violence, you want to have it be real. I mean, like in The Heat, we've got this one shot of this guy getting like shot in the head, and it's pretty brutal. But that's what I loved. Remember Beverly Hills Cop? When that first came out, that like an opening scene is like they execute some guy in a hallway, and I remember just like when I went to see that, going like, "Holy shit!" I thought this was a comedy, but then I really cared about the guys because they're like they could get killed, and that to me that's what really raises the stakes on stuff.